All right, time is 5:38. The forecast not going to be a thief of joy as we go into Thanksgiving. Actually, looks pretty nice for the holiday.
That's right. I'm really glad the rain was yesterday and not tomorrow, because if that was tomorrow or even today with all the travel, man, that would have been a disaster. But it is moving out. We're looking at much better weather and the sun coming up here in the next hour or so. 7-11 is when it officially rises, setting tonight at about 5:30 as we look live over downtown. We're looking to the east this morning, so that is where the sun will rise. 61 now in Macon, 63 in Warner Robins, 55 over in Thomaston, 59 in Crawford County this morning, and in Taylor County, 60 waking up in Monroe County, 61 over in Gordon, and 62 in Cochran this morning. So here's the radar. You can see the last of the showers pulling out of central Georgia, still hanging on to it in the Swainsboro area over near Soperton, down near Montgomery County and Toombs County, Vidalia, that region. But the front coming through and it's pushing it all away, so it's not going to last that much longer. If you're headed over to South Carolina in the next little bit, I think you could still run into showers. You can get there fast enough to still run into showers, but say North Carolina and Virginia, you are not going to make it to those states if you leave right now fast enough for the rain to still be around, or maybe even down towards the Jacksonville area. I think even then the rain's going to be moving off the coast by the time you're able to get there. Today, 62 here in Macon, breezy and mostly cloudy skies, winds out of the west-northwest at about 10 to 20. Average high is 67, so we'll be about 5 degrees below average. And then tomorrow, only making it to 61, a relatively cool turkey day with mostly cloudy skies. Once again, winds, though, much weaker out of the west at about 5 miles an hour. So let's talk about it all on Future View. We're going to dip down into the 50s this morning, shortly before sunrise, and then begin to warm up from there. This is about the noon hour or so, hanging on to 59 before we briefly touch 62. And then about 3-4 o'clock, we're going to make a sharp turn in the temperature department and begin to cool down relatively quickly, down to 52 or so by the 5 p.m. hour. And then that's not going to stop through the overnight hours into your Thanksgiving morning. I know this is showing, we'll say mid to low 40s here, but I do expect to get upper 30s into central Georgia before the morning is over. On into Thanksgiving afternoon, rebounding close to that 60-degree mark, but with a lot of cloud cover across central Georgia. We're not going to see a ton of sun on Thanksgiving. And then once we get into the night into Black Friday, we're waking up to the mid-40s before we're back into the 60s for Friday afternoon and evening. And if you're traveling today across the United States, I think it's a fairly good travel day. You're getting that front off the coast. And then once we get into Thanksgiving tomorrow, there's 5 p.m. there. I think we might run into some issues maybe over the Rocky Mountains. However, the eastern 2/3 of the United States looks okay, and that's going to remain the case through the weekend as well. So some welcome news on that front. Driving on the roads in central Georgia today, your hour-by-hour forecast. Again, expect to dip down into the 50s over the next little bit before we make it to 62 later on this afternoon. And then we see that sharp turn in the temperatures and begin to cool down once again. Here's your 7-day forecast. So below average for the next 7 days across central Georgia. Again, it should be around 67. Tomorrow will be at 61, 65 for Black Friday. Notice those overnight low temperatures in the ballpark of 40. That will continue through the weekend and on into next week. A 20% chance of rain on Monday and Tuesday.